Some people wake up in the middle of their lives and feel settled. They look at what they've built and feel a quiet sense of ownership. They make plans without secretly wondering if it's too late. They age without feeling like the floor is subtly tilting beneath them. I am not one of those people. And if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you aren't either. Because for you, this stage of life doesn't feel like arrival. It feels like interruption, like something you didn't schedule just showed up anyway. Not loud enough to call a disaster, not dramatic enough to explain to other people, just constant enough that you can't ignore it. People call it a midlife crisis. They picture red sports cars, sudden divorces, impulse tattoos, someone trying to feel young again. But that's not what this usually is. This isn't recklessness. It isn't vanity. It isn't you suddenly becoming shallow or ungrateful. This is a confrontation, and the thing you're confronting isn't your age, it's your position. The deeper fear here isn't, I'm getting older. It's quieter than that, sharper. It's, am I still relevant? Am I still chosen? Am I replaceable now? Did I miss the window? Is this all there is? Short, declarative fears. No drama, no melodrama, just wait. And once that fear takes hold, everything starts to bend around it. A neutral moment stops being neutral. A younger colleague isn't just competent, they're a reminder. A birthday isn't just a date, it's a measurement. A long-term relationship isn't just stable, it's suddenly fragile in your mind. Rest isn't rest anymore, it's wasted time. Joy isn't joy, it's something you don't fully trust. Because A is never just A. A becomes evidence. A becomes comparison. A becomes a verdict. Psychologically, what you're experiencing is often tied to something called identity foreclosure, followed by identity reactivation. Plain language. For a long time, you knew who you were supposed to be. You built a life around roles, expectations, survival, responsibility, and momentum. And it worked until it didn't. Midlife is when the part of you that was postponed comes back online. Not because you're weak, but because you're finally stable enough to hear it. This doesn't mean your parents failed you. It doesn't mean your life choices were wrong. It means you learned early which parts of yourself were practical and which were optional. And now, the optional parts want airtime. From a nervous system perspective, this isn't a breakdown. It's a recalibration. For years, your system learned rules like keep going, don't disrupt stability, be useful, be reliable. Don't ask for too much. Those rules kept you safe. They help you build something real. But safety built on suppression always collects interest. So now your nervous system is scanning again. Not for danger like it used to, but for meaning. And meaning is harder to pin down than survival. This fear changes how you show up in relationships. You might withdraw without calling it withdrawal. You might become hyper-responsible. You might fantasize about escape without actually wanting to leave. You might stay physically present, but emotionally elsewhere. There's irony here. The things you do to protect your sense of worth, self-control, independence, self-sufficiency, are the same things that quietly increase your isolation. You don't want chaos. You want aliveness. And you don't know how to ask for it without blowing something up. So you don't ask. The emotional cost of this isn't drama. It's exhaustion. A low-grade grief you can't quite name. A sense that you're living slightly adjacent to your own life. Moments of joy that land and then immediately pass through. You're tired, but not the kind of tired sleep fixes. And here's the part most people miss. This pattern often disguises itself as strength. You look composed, capable, together. You don't fall apart publicly. You don't make impulsive confessions. You don't let people see how often your mind loops back to the same quiet question. Is this enough? From the outside, you seem grounded. From the inside, you're constantly negotiating with time, but you are not broken. You are responding to the moment when adaptation is no longer enough. This stage of life asks something different of you. Not reinvention, not erasure, not starting over, integration. The parts of you that were useful and the parts of you that were true in the same room at the same time. People with this fear tend to be deeply loyal, emotionally intelligent, attuned, They notice shifts before others do. They carry responsibility well, which is exactly why this hits so hard. Because you don't just want a life that functions. You want one that feels like it belongs to you. Healing here isn't about fixing your age anxiety. It isn't about chasing youth or forcing gratitude. It's about safety. Creating enough internal safety that you don't have to keep outrunning yourself. Enough permission to let desire exist without immediately judging it. Enough steadiness to listen instead of suppress. No hacks, no 10-step plans, no dramatic exits required. Just honesty, held gently. Over time, you're not late. You're not behind. You're not having a crisis because you failed. You're having a reckoning because you lived. And if this put words to something you've been carrying quietly, you're not alone in it. You don't need to resolve it tonight. You just need to know it makes sense. Stay with the conversation. There's more room here than you think.